Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. A little late video tonight, guys, but today's video is important because we're going to cover the morning session, the morning choppy session, and how we managed it. Before I start, let's do a quick introduction to anybody who's new to me, new to my community, or new to my Twitter or YouTube. Most of these education and trade ideas recap and any teachings are mostly either I share things on Twitter, on YouTube, or mostly from my community. We trade a repeatable system called EMA Cloud system that thousands of traders across the world trade use to trade consistently. So we trade repeatable system. We use a repeatable setup. System is how you trade. Setup is what you trade. We have the same repeatable setup based upon our system that we trade day in, day out. That's how you find consistency in the stock market. If you repeat a system that tells you when to buy, when to sell, when to long, when to short, and that's what we do. Every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan for the day. You can see this game plan in front of you. We have the movers, news movers, upgrades, downgrades, earning movers, marketplace, which are index stocks, which are based upon on the market. So when we make a game plan, we have our support and resistance, and we have our initial bias or our initial game plan on everything, which we will recap as we go. In addition to that, we also share something to the community, which is called day 2, day 3 setups. So day 2, day 3 setups are the strategy that I shared with, I did a free Twitter webinar as well. This is a strategy which we focus on anything that had news yesterday, day before yesterday, or even if in prior days before that. So we trade those stocks. PLTR, which was a good trade. We will talk about that as well. ST Lauder was a good trade as well on day 2, day 3 setups. In addition, we share the daily levels for all the indices, ETFs, index stocks like Netflix, Amazon, Meta, Tesla. All those names we share every day, the levels in the community. In addition, we also now share the levels for the futures. So those who can trade in the futures in the community can use this level and use our system to trade futures. So we're going to recap all that. I'm usually on the voice first few hours of the market open, guiding the traders to the market, sharing the trade ideas, and also how to manage their trades. I will show you my timestamped guidance. Most of my guidance is on voice, so I can't show you that, but I will show you my timestamped guidance. Thousands of traders are on the floor all day sharing ideas, so that we can make some good trades, big wins, small losers. That's what we try to do. We have a bunch of tools in our community. We have 3 option scanner. We have stock scanners. We have breaking news alert, support resistance alert. It's just a one-stop shop for any active trader, where we provide this value as well. A lot of my teachings are in 1,000+ YouTube videos, shorts. Of course, I have a lot of webinars, PowerPoints, and courses in the community as well, if anybody wants to come and learn, because our focus in the community is not to spoon feed, but rather to show the real-time guidance and show the reasoning behind any trade, winners or losers. So anyways, a lot to learn in today's video. Let's start. All right, let's start with AMD today. So AMD was in the morning. Let's look here. AMD was bearish. Let's look at our game plan. What was our game plan on AMD? So our game plan on AMD was to short some big bounces, bearish bias. We would only long if it bases at the pre-market lows. It does have room to 100 if it breaks pre-market lows. 106.50 was our support, 109 was our resistance. If you see that the support I gave in the pre-market, 106.50, it never really broke that. So it never really gave us confirmed short, right? We were trying to short it, but it never really gave us a confirmed short. So let's see what happened with AMD here. Let's go through that. Let's look step-by-step guidance. So we were short initially on AMD. So AMD short starter size, because remember, pre-market low is not breaking. It's going up and down, it's going up and down, and it's trying to curl and it's failing. And we held our short, and finally when it curled, we were out of the short. So I told everybody, close the shorts, because you see this is the range. We are not breaking down, we're not breaking up. So that was like on the short, there was $1.5 loss, but that's fine because we are trying to see what kind of price action we're going to get. The stock was not going to move unless and until it got out of this range. So even though we shorted, we knew that we are not going to size. Look what I'm saying. Not breaking pre-market lows, do not size yet. Another bounce of pre-market lows, watch 512 and close the shorts over 512s. Then when it started to curl, I told everybody, watch the pullback to 512. Confirmation of the bullish move will be 109. You can add a starter if you want, and then we'll see. But then we had a midday market breakout, which kind of helped AMD. And you could trade AMDL. You don't really need to trade AMD. You could trade AMDL as well. I told the traders you can trade that curl as well. You see, right? The curl is right here. So anyways, so then we played the curls, and it 512 curls, then it gave 3450 longs. I mentioned the 3450 longs. I told everybody to put the stops under 108. So when we are doing the 3450 longs, we are putting the stops right here, 108. If you're doing the 512 curls, your initial stop is right here, 106.90 area. Now we play those curls, and now our target was 110 was our first target. Nothing crazy. A lot of flow was coming in. Ghost board was alerting a lot of flow in the community. We have those live scanners. Then 110 target met. Then our next target I gave everybody was this resistance level right here. It was 1160-70 area. So we met 111 target, and then 1160 target we also met. So you see from the long at 107.80, 90 area, we got $2 to $3. We lost $1.50, but we made like $3. So that was a good trade on AMD, better with the shares. Or if you were trading AMDL leverage ETFs, you could risk 20 cents here, right? What is it? 585s, 590s. You could risk 15 cents and you could make 20, 30 cents, 3,000 shares. You are risking $900 and you are getting a 30 cents push, so you are, you're risking like $450 and you're making $900 to $1,500 based upon your share size. That's how you can trade the smaller names, leverage ETFs. Now the options on AMD, we can look how they did. So that when the call was happening, you always go into the closer longs, right? What was it? 108, 109. So you go to the 109s. And those 109s on that initial morning calls, pushed from $1.70 and they pushed to $3. Not really 100%, but close to that. So you could easily, buy $2,000 worth of options and you could make $1,600, $1,700 on that trade. So that was the trade on AMD today. That was the guidance. The patience was the key, guys, because you know that when we are in this job range, nothing is going to happen. So always remember that. And when it's not breaking the pre-market lows, it's not going to be a short, right? So if you want to long it, it's a C minus long versus 106.50, but there's no guarantee it's going to curl. But when the curl finally came, because it pushed over this cloud, it pushed over this cloud, and then it pushed. Then it bounced over 34.50, and then it pushed again. So that was a long here. Even if you want to hold with 34.50, you can hold it. But this was our main profitable trade after this morning weakness, right? So morning weakness, morning chop. So it's very, if you got frustrated at this, there's nothing to be frustrated, right? The guidance was pretty clear. The short is not going to work until we break this pre-market lows. And once the long works, you hold it. You hold it, hold it, hold it. So you can make up for the loss you had in the morning chop. If you see this range is not what we are looking for. $1 up, $1 down. We want to look for a bigger move, like $3, $4 here. So AMD, that was AMD trade today. It's a good case study. It was frustrating in the morning, but really, really helped us middle of the day for the long side. So next one we are going to look at is Google. Google, I think Google was the same chop and kind of chopped us. It was not really a long until this. I was initially short on the amateur candle. When it swiped back, I cut my short and we were trying to do the 512 curls, but that failed. And then we cut our longs as well. So we cut the amateur shorts. That didn't work. Took a dollar loss. Then we cut our long and we took actually a smaller loss on the long side because the 512 curls, they didn't work, right? So there was nothing. So you can see that what I was saying here, If break 193, then you add. We never really broke out of 193. So that's important to understand that we are not have a confirmed long. Yes, we are trying to long it, but it's a C minus long. Because I said, if it breaks 193, then you add. I said, do not size up, 5 trail breaking, cut long, and when it broke down, we cut long. Right here, we cut long. And look what, it faded right back down. You could short it, but again, it's not breaking the pre-market lows. So we have a problem. So you have to cover that short again. And then you could long it, but the long was not enough. It just bounced from 189.70 to 191. Not a lot of big move. Yes, you can make a little bit. But that's not what we are looking for on a trend chart, right? So we closed the shorts over 512 right here. And if anybody long, I gave the stops to 189. Yeah, traders made a couple of bucks in there, but overall, this action was being stuck in this range is not what I really was looking for. So we had a little tough morning with Google in the morning, had a little bit losses, but AMD covered for it. So anyways, that was a Google morning loser. Just hopefully everybody understand this. Let's move to the next one. NVIDIA was a good long winner for the community today. Let's see what was our plan on NVIDIA. And so NVIDIA, I personally didn't, trade it, but I got it in the community. So NVIDIA, we had price target lowered. I said, check the daily sheet. It was our highlighted because of the CapEx increase and everything. We had NVIDIA as our highlight play. So NVIDIA breakout was 120, and resistance was 120, 120, and 120. So when they break out, you buy that 512 dip or you long this flag breakout. So it broke the flag breakout. There was a lot of flow coming in on NVIDIA as well. So this was a 10 a.m. flag breakout that I alerted everyone. You can see that 10 a.m. flag breakout, pulled back, then pushed. The target I gave everyone was 125. And 123.50 was the next breakout right here. And you hold it, you add these dips or you add this dips, but this is the flag breakout you play, and you put your stops right under the 512s. And there was more flow coming in, as I mentioned as well, 1139. And then AMD definitely pushed. This was mostly a voice guidance, and AMD pushed close to our 125. There was a huge seller here, and once 1512 broke, this is where we cut, right? Is as per our system. Just follow our system. So nice long winner for NVIDIA in the community by a lot of traders. Well done. So let's look at CRWD today. So CRWD was our day 2 setup because it was a flag setup. It was a technical flag setup. You can see this flag right here, and also it was over 400 psychological level. So CRWD, I told everybody in the open pre-market. Not only that, I gave in our day 2 level breakout daily. 405, 410, breakout daily. So I told everybody it's a daily breakout. So it's a breakout long, and it was worked as planned, and you trade that breakout, and CRWD pulled back to 3450. That's your entry, and then you trade the breakout long all day. There was another flag breakout here. I did tweet the chart as well, and it was a decent trade because of this daily breakout. So always understand your daily charts. These are good setups, right? So this daily chart is a good trade setup because it's breaking out of the daily it's breaking out of the daily flag. So that's why I put it in the pre-market as well. I highlighted it the first 5 minutes. You wait for a good entry and you take that. Let's go to the next one. So there are a bunch of other earning plays today. Not all of them were interesting. I did like ERJ. It was showing strength the most at the open. So ERJ is the company. It's an airplane company. They had a deal $7 billion worth for executive jets. That's a huge deal, $7 billion. So I had a neutral bias, but when I saw the strength on ERJ at the open, and I said it's a long from the game plan, it pulls the 512s. You ride all the way and you take your profits end of the day right here. So it was a morning guidance, and the Boeing was going with ERJ, I guess. And there was some other news on Boeing as well. News was bad, but you have to respect the levels we provide for the Boeing. You can see 175, 175.87, 176.46. So once Boeing broke out, it just kept on pushing. Boeing is actually a nice setup for coming days. We have to watch this breakout over 183. I will post it as well. But that was ERJ was a decent trade. Next one we're going to look at is Uber. So let's see what Uber was doing today. Let's go here. Let's see here, Uber. Let's go at the Uber chart. So Uber, the plan on Uber was, let's look at the plan. A lot of MTF above bearish buys, right? 64.50, 65, 67. So that you see this, there's a lot of resistance, means the sellers are in control, because we have these MTF clouds which are on the top, which are giving a lot of resistance. So bearish wise, so Uber was our short. The stops at the high of the day. Short stops the high of the day. We need to break pre-market lows. We did break the pre-market lows. We did flush, but it reclaimed right back, right? So you exit right here once it gets here. Move stops up. We moved our stops to 65. Once it flushed here, we moved our stops to 65, and then we got out. So basically, you're short somewhere here. That's fine. I mentioned the short in the first 10 minutes. You short these pops. What is it? 65. You short over 65. Flushes to 64. You cover some. You hold a tad bit more. You see it swiping back up. You close more, and then you exit once it pushes right here over this one. Nothing crazy, but there's still some kind of profit to be made. $1.50 on the short side on Uber. So let's look at PLTR today. PLTR was a nice trade midday. In the morning, it was actually very choppy. Was very choppy in the morning, very heavy, and no long there. Support 101, right? Shorts, I told everybody to short it midday, basically right here when this broke. And I said 100 should be your first target. And once we broke down that and we hit our 100 target, and my next target was MTF clouds. So I added a little bit more short. I lowered my average, from 150 to closer to under 101. But when I lowered my average, I hit more short at 100. It swiped right back, and then we stopped out. Then we stopped out or this candle, and then again it was a short, and then it covered, right? So PLTR was basically a scratch, trade. Unless you shorted a good entry, you made like a buck and moved on. Otherwise, nothing special. They're still holding 100. I discussed 100 in detail yesterday. As long as they hold 100, this is it's not going to be easy fade, because everybody wants to short it, and even we tried to short it and it didn't really pan out because the 100 was a buyer. And it's nothing surprising. We know that 100 is such an important level that it will always do that. Okay, but it is on a downtrend now, so we have to watch tomorrow for a day 3 setup. We'll see. So let's look at ST Lauder. So ST Lauder was a day 2 short, because I mentioned we've been watching ST Lauder for a few days. So I said ST Lauder is daily is bearish. That means it's not a good long. Daily bearish, 68, 69. So as long as it breaks that support, you short it. That's what I mentioned on the voice. You short it, ST Lauder EL 67.50, and you cover some at yesterday's lows, and then you move your stops down, and then as it fades to 65 area, it curls, you get out. So it was a nice short, winner for us in the community, EL. So that's why day 2, day 3 setups, guys, if day 1 setups are a little tough for you, always focus on day 2, day 3 setups. So we had another day 2, 3 setup. Clorex was a daily bearish. It was similar to ST Lauder. You can see that Clorex was also heavy. It was a day 2 short I mentioned, and Clorex also faded, and later it curled and you got out. It failed curl. You can re-hit the short again. So that was another day 2 short here on Clorex. So let's look at Tesla. Tesla was actually, I should not have touched it long on the curls, but our curl failed badly and we lost in the mid of the day. I did say Tesla is a super bearish. Yes, testing yesterday's lows. And it was a short, right? It was right at the short at the open. That's fine. But we tried to play this curl and it failed right in our face and we got out. It tried to curl again, rejected 34.50, and I told everybody just avoid it. Just avoid it. I mean, it was a good short under MTF. You could definitely short it. I think a lot of traders in the community were short. But you see it's under 1 hour chart. It's breaking 50 EMA MTF. So, it's not worth it to the long side. I was not shorting it because market at that time was strong, but there was some news on Tesla as well. And it faded. So, it respected the system. let's look at Snap. Snap was a morning short for the small account traders. Snap was a short, small account short setup versus 1160. 1160 is your risk, and there was a guidance on the Snap as well here. Neutral trade versus the MTF. And once it broke down, you could short here as well, and you shorted 11, it faded to 1170. That's a pretty decent move for this stock. It's a low ATR stock. You risk 30 cents, you make 30-40 cents. That's more than enough. You can see that it tried to pop and fail, pop and fail, pop and fail. You can always add back, but overall it was a short all day. All right, let's look at next. We're going to look at Workday. So Workday initially was filling the gap and crap. It was crapping. The setup on Workday came in the middle of the day. So we had Workday on our watch list. We were watching it. Bullish bias, cautious of 512 break. So I already told everybody, be cautious of 512 breaks. And that's exactly what it did. It broke 512. But it did give a long setup in middle of the day, 512. Your stops under it. You long it. It was a nice push. You see that how Ripster clouds are helping it with the long, right? You see that how it's curling on the EMA cloud. So that was your long setup on Workday. Remember this setup. So the last one, we're going to just look at the market, NASDAQ, futures, anything you trade. We can look at the screen here, SPY. So SPY was basically not doing anything all morning. We actually didn't, we actually had to break even on the SPY long and QQQ long. But in the middle of the day, there was a flag setup that I mentioned. I think I sent out an alert as well. There was this range break. When was it? Let's see here. There was a range break around 1140s when it started to break out of this flag. I told everybody that we are going to push to yesterday highs. Then it broke out of yesterday highs. It pushed way higher. Same for QQQ. That was a good trade on NQ. This was a midday setup, right? Midday breakout setup. You could trade the NQ futures or you could trade the SPYs. So that was a midday setup. Morning was choppy, but midday long was definitely good. You can see the setups. Most of this I was mentioning on the voice. This flag breakout, this range breakout, there was this range breakout. There was a nice little trade here in middle of the day here. You see it's holding the 512 Ripster cloud. Same for SPY, holding the 512 Ripster clouds. You could trade the same on NQ futures. So that was there today, guys. Nothing crazy. Morning was a little tough, but today was very important to learn. And hopefully you guys learned a lot and you will manage these kind of plays moving forward at the open.